エルマでもないの？
私はてっきりトールがやったのかと。違いますよ。
待ってよ、それじゃあ知り合いのドラゴン以外がやったってこと？
私の結界を破れる者はそうそういません。
じゃあ誰が？
Well, let's not start sucking each other's dicks quite yet.
What's up, bitches? Oh my god! After 4 years of waiting, Dragon Maid is back just when we need it most, with the same upbeat attitude, same world-ending power levels, and with a new character who is legitimately terrifying, but we know how to handle that, don't we? Be gone, Thought! We've got the old dragon crew back together. Toru, Elma, Kana, Fafnir, Lukoa. Everybody loves these guys, and it's easy to see why. Cause while at any moment they could decide to nuke the planet and kill us all, right now they're simply having too much of a good time to pull the trigger, and I appreciate that. I finally finished watching the first season all the way through before starting season 2, or Dragon Maid S. Why do they always do that? And as I was doing so, a funny thing happened. I just enjoyed it. Unlike the majority of recent shows I've forced myself to watch in an increasingly desperate gold panning operation, I didn't feel the need to do any mental gymnastics to convince myself the show was actually good or might get good later. It was simply a good use of my time. Because you know what Dragon Maid does? It makes me smile. It makes me laugh. It makes me feel like people are taking its creation seriously as an art form and as a product that aims to be remembered longer than the end of one season. I'm sure everyone else in the industry works hard too, but I guess they're not working smart because their shit sucks. So who's the now? Dragon Maid gives us a world where problems get resolved fast and everyone is kind to each other, with the biggest emotional dramas being whether Kobayashi decides to open her home to new people in need of love. And when they are invited in, you and I are welcomed along with them. Once that's sorted out, you pretty much know what you're going to be getting. But that's the real strength of the show, taking the otherwise mundane aspects of daily life and making them beautiful in a celebratory and life-affirming way, which is exactly what we need right now. It's a different flavor of the happy community vibe we get from shows like Tamako Market KyoAni does so well. With over-the-top Sakuga from their other shows sprinkled in a plot-relevant way, that's the best of both worlds. The neighborhood where it all happens has lots of bright, friendly characters for our cast to bounce their gimmicks off of, although with far too little spotlight being given to my main man Fafnir, who is in dire need of his own episode, who not to mention continues to be shafted from the endings. What, because he's not a sexy anime girl? He's got better moves than any of them! Kobayashi herself really works for me as the good-hearted, stable foundation for the plot and this little community that springs up around her, especially in her highly relatable position as a code monkey. I'm a corporate asset. The satisfied feeling I get watching this show is a rare one, which unfortunately speaks volumes about our recent crops of new anime. Since I'm not exactly expecting Dostoevsky here, just enough fun to consistently be a positive experience and not a drag. For comparison, here's a list of shows I watched recently that were not worth my time, which I know because I don't remember what happened in them. Slime Isekai, Majo no Tabi Tabi, Jujutsu Kaisen. I can't remember a thing besides Toto. Decadence, Re:Zero, oh my god, Re:Zero, the day I became a god, although I do remember one thing from that show. And as much as it pains me to say it, Vlad Love. I'm sorry, Oshie, it just wasn't that good! And many more. None of those are gonna do well against the test of time, I promise you. But you know what I've watched lately that was worth it? Classics, like Bebop. And all the Ghibli movies, for the 10,000th time! Old is good and new is bad.
And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Okay, but let's take this seriously and think back about what's actually been worth watching lately. What do you remember? That Brawly movie looked pretty great. I had the Maid in Abyss one on repeat. And maybe that Demon Slayer movie turned out good too? I don't know, I didn't see it. Though I have been reliably informed it is the best anime of all time. What I saw of Aizokin kinda blew me away, and I heard that Back Arrow stuck the landing. But as for the shows I've heard people talking about this season, Odd Taxi certainly didn't impress with the visuals. And though it wasn't bad, I was pretty underwhelmed. When it comes to Taxi Drivers, I'll take the original.
You talking to me?
As for Link Click and how China is gonna take over the industry, you're gonna be waiting a while longer before it can boost its credit score high enough to pull that off. It's better produced and has more care put into it than your average seasonal, but I'm sorry to report the hype is most certainly exaggerated. Along with Odd Taxi, it's a dramatic show with those classic serious anime vibes. You know, the kind that helps older anime fans continue to justify their interest in the hobby by feeling smart for watching something so mature. But what we actually end up with is an odd product that doesn't even need to be anime since it barely takes advantage of the medium, and judged on the strength of its writing alone, is not God impressive. Link Click's murder mystery hook wasn't bad, but it's like a slightly better animated version of something like Babylon, which also didn't need to be an anime. It's clear that the writing won't even be able to stack up to that level, and I know it doesn't have the balls to go as far. I'm not saying every other show I've seen lately is bad. I kind of am though. But I am saying that I'm drowning in an ocean of mid shit, where I have to put in most of the effort to make myself care. When along comes KyoAni with the mastery of their craft needed to slap my shit up and make it seem effortless to do what everyone else is struggling to achieve. They're playing the adaptation game with Dragon Maid, as they often do, which across the industry can feel like the assembly line approach. But KyoAni, more than any studio I know, has got the Midas touch, and can be counted on to elevate the source material, sometimes to astronomical heights when they find the right fit. But even in their less impressive showings, I'd rather watch KyoAni animate a character falling on their fucking face, or walking 3 steps onto a train like a smug little shit, than the full character arc of some other bullshit seasonal, and needless to say, is a better use of your time. Look how they took 3 panels from 1 page of the Dragon Maid manga where Kana arrives in New York, and fleshed it out into this gorgeous, multi-shot rendering of Times Square, doing a better job than The World Ends With You anime, a series that is about bringing the city and culture of Shibuya to life in animation. They didn't have to do that. Why did they do that? Because they are KyoAni, and that is what they do. They elevate work and make their competition look like a fucking joke. Not every show they've made over the last few years has been a home run, though you can always find some telltale souls sprinkled on top. But they've hit their stride with Dragon Maid, and it feels effortless in its success, with just enough plot and crazy characters to allow them to go balls to the wall with the fun, balanced with the relaxing atmosphere you look for when you want to enjoy something at the end of the day. I do find myself getting a little impatient at the moments in the show where suddenly everything slows down. You feel the music and tone change and know something emotional is happening. Like when they really want you to care about Ilulu's long-lost doll or Toru and Elma's rocky friendship. Just kiss, you fucks! But pretty much every single time, I'm with Fafnir and want them to just get back to the funny! Which luckily it always does. This may come as a shock, but these characters ain't that deep, so I'm content to have them speed through that shit, maybe throwing in a cool cut or two, so we can get back to what matters. Toru stalking Kobayashi at work, or shopping for dinner. And in that particular style of theirs, KyoAni's work is up there alongside the studios that have been counted on to produce quality, like Ghibli, Madhouse, and Bones. They really just make better shit than the competition. Maybe it comes across like a backhanded compliment when I praise Dragon Maid for going light on plot, since I too have this nagging feeling that it isn't great to celebrate a show punting on even trying to have an engaging story. I think we all know our egos can get wrapped up in the media we allow ourselves to enjoy and worry that they might not check enough boxes to make us look cool or smart enough for liking. But Dragon Maid never has a problem with its singular role as a dopamine dispensary, so why should we? Sure, I find myself craving more boundary-pushing storytelling you find in series like Maid and Abyss, and I would never tell people just to settle for less, but that doesn't mean you can't have realistic expectations for what to expect from an industry, and use that to identify the gems that do succeed at exactly what they are trying to do. Really, after all these years, what the hell do we even watch anime for if not to enjoy the unique texture you can only find here? So maybe it's alright not to whinge over what-ifs too much. Cause when they do turn up the Sakuga, that alone is justification enough to watch, and even the best shonen shit can't compete. Enjoy it for what it is, and when you need something more intellectually challenging, I don't know, maybe read a fucking book. Because everything you see from Dragon Maid demonstrates a concerted effort to mathematically optimize the sparking of joy in the viewer, and it has the desired effect. Look at these jabronis, they're obviously having fun. You think the demanding work environment and culture of Japan is encouraging them to create a facade of positivity to mask harsh realities of the industry? I don't know. I'm not a mind reader, and it might be a little presumptuous to assume so. KyoAni has a reputation for treating its staff well, but even if it didn't, maybe these kinds of things aren't what I need to worry about every time I turn on an episode of a goddamn anime. And it's okay to relax and let joy into your life every once in a while without making it your personal mental illness to obsess over the well-being of every person along the supply chain. Maybe it's okay to just live, Becky.
You fat bitch!
Because if you want to get heavy, how about having one of your studios burned down, killing dozens of staff like what happened to KyoAni 2 years ago? Among the dead was Yasuhiro Takemoto, the man who directed Season 1 of Dragon Maid along with many other KyoAni classics, and had begun work on Season 2, so personally I figured it would mean the end of the series. I can't tell you how happy and amazed I am that the studio and staff have recovered to the point where they can produce something like this to continue his work and make it even better than Season 1. Rather than shut down in the face of that tragedy, they have chosen to put their energy into creating a show like this, making the craft and positivity throughout it come across as downright heroic, with their resilience itself being the kind of story you might see in one of their shows, reinforcing their mission to spread joy with their work. If they're willing to choose to focus on positivity after that, then so am I. Of course, none of that exempts their work from criticism, so to do my due diligence, every once in a while you do hear people bitching about something in this show. So, what are the things I'm not supposed to like here again? Oh no, the sexy goddess dragon keeps teasing the Shota with her curvature. What an odd place for a political statement. And uh-oh, there's another 1,000-year-old dragon girl who sort of looks high school age, which endorses, pedophilia? I'll be sure to get mad about that. And boy, I sure hope she doesn't pull out her ridiculously voluptuous titties. That would be just terrible. I'm not gonna claim there's no degeneracy in this show. I wouldn't insult it that way. And if you're not into it, no shame in that, this show just ain't for you. But let's be clear. These kinds of things are played for laughs, with the joke hinging on how they are not good or silly. So yeah, I wouldn't exactly say it ruins the experience for me. You can sense a lot of willful ignorance in many of these complaints, along with big didn't watch the show energy. Because things like the big dragon titties bouncing around primarily comes across as intentionally funny, playing into how ridiculous it is. It makes me smile, simple as. But go ahead and slap a PG-13 label on there and pat yourself on the back for saving the children. So, fellow anime tryhards, what am I saying in this video? Well, I'm saying I love this show. I'm saying I wish there were more like it, but that not every show needs to be it. I'm saying it is worth your time, and I'm saying that somehow they made the new OP even more of a banger than the first one, and I've had that shit on loop for 4 years! He's my favorite. In a world full of serious shit, you still need to find time for joy, and that is what KyoAni delivers. Kick back, relax, get together with people you care about, and laugh along with Dragon Maid the way it was meant to be enjoyed. It gets the BGE seal of approval. That's all I've got to say on the subject, so I'm gonna leave it there. See you next time, have yourself a super day, and go watch this shit.
You fucking...
それが